There is a type of loss nobody talks about. Not losing to a better opponent, not losing to bad luck, not losing to circumstances outside your control, losing to yourself. You have been there. The moment when everything was ready, the preparation was done, the opportunity was real, and then something small happened. A criticism, a rejection, one unexpected obstacle, and within 30 seconds, the version of you capable of handling it simply disappeared. What replaced it was reactive, contracted, running automatically, and it cost you something you could not fully recover. Most people spend years trying to manage this. They build habits, they try harder, they create new systems, and the same pattern keeps returning because they have been attacking the symptoms while the actual problem sits untouched underneath. The problem has a name, an ungoverned inner state, not a character flaw, not a lack of discipline, a specific gap in your training that no amount of external achievement will ever close. In 17th century Japan, a Zen monk named Takuan Soho spent his life teaching the greatest samurai warriors of his era how to close exactly this gap, not through willpower, not through emotional suppression, through the cultivation of something far deeper. He called it Joko, inner sovereignty, self-governance from the inside. This is his teaching. 7 lessons, 3 practices you can begin today. Chapter 1. The problem has a name. Kyoto, 1632. A young samurai named Shin arrives at Daitokuji Temple. He has not come by choice. His swordmaster sent him with one instruction. Tell Takuan what is happening to you in combat. Shin is 26. His technical skill is acknowledged by everyone who has trained with him. In controlled practice, he is among the best of his generation. In real encounters with real stakes, something breaks. Not his courage, not his technique. Something more fundamental. A contraction happens before he can stop it. And in the space that contraction creates, opportunities close that should have remained open. He explains this to Takuan in simple words. Takuan listens without speaking, then says, "You have named the symptoms. You have not named the illness." He looks at Shin directly. Your inner state is not governed by you. It is governed by what is happening around you. When circumstances are safe, your state is stable and everything works. When circumstances are threatening, your state collapses and everything fails with it. He pauses. The problem is not your sword. It is the ground from which you wield it. The ground is your inner state, and your inner state has never been trained. This is the first teaching and the hardest to sit with. Most people look at where they are failing and attack the thing they can see. The procrastination, the bad habit, the repeating pattern. They try harder, they build systems, they change routines. Sometimes it works briefly, then the same thing returns because the symptom was never the problem. The problem was underneath. An ungoverned inner state producing the same symptoms in different circumstances, with different people, across different years of the same life. Shin had been attacking symptoms for years. More training, better preparation, different approaches before combat. None of it held because none of it touched the actual thing. The circumstances were governing him. He was not governing himself. Chapter 2. The space that changes everything. The next morning, Takuan gives Shin one instruction. Sit at the temple gate. People will pass. Things will happen. Your mind will react. Before you follow any reaction, stop. Find the moment between what happened and the reaction that arose. Stay there. Shin sits for 4 hours. He notices almost immediately that the space Takuan described is nearly invisible. A sound startles him. The alarm arrives before he decides to be alarmed. A monk passes without acknowledgement. He feels slighted before the thought has even formed. Every stimulus produces a reaction, and every reaction arrives before any conscious engagement with it. That evening he reports, there is no space. The reaction is immediate. Takuan shakes his head. The space exists. You cannot see it because you have spent 26 years moving through it so fast you never noticed it was there. He continues, Viktor Frankl, a man who survived 4 Nazi concentration camps and lost everything a person can lose, wrote that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. He looks at Shin. The samurai knew this not as philosophy, but as practice. The warrior who has found the space cannot be provoked, because provocation requires the stimulus to connect directly to the reaction. When the space is inhabited, the connection is interrupted. Tomorrow, when the reaction arrives, name it before you follow it. Not I am alarmed. There is alarm arising now. The naming is the space. The space is the naming. UCLA neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman confirmed what Takuan taught in 1632. Simply labeling an emotional state in descriptive language measurably reduces amygdala activation. The brain's threat response quiets not through suppression, but through accurate observation. The naming activates the prefrontal cortex and shifts processing from reactive to reflective. The space is real. It starts almost too small to stand in, but it can be widened. Chapter 3. What stability actually means? Months pass. Shin practices finding the space. He becomes better at it. Then Takuan introduces something new. He takes Shin to the temple garden early one morning, points to a pine tree standing at the edge that has survived 30 years of storms. Look at the roots, he says, not the branches. Shin looks. The roots spread wide and deep in every direction, anchoring the tree far beyond what its visible size suggests. Most people train the branches. They work on the visible parts, the responses, the behaviors, the skills, and they wonder why storms still take them. He turns to Shin. Stability is not the absence of disruption. It is a root system deep enough that disruption cannot topple what grows from it. Your inner state is either your root system or it is not. When it is yours, difficulty becomes information. When it is not yours, difficulty becomes identity. You do not just face the hard thing, you become it. Shin understood this in a way that could not be explained to someone who had not sat at the gate for 4 hours, watching their own reactions arrive uninvited. The question is not whether hard things will happen. They will. The question is whether your inner state belongs to them when they do.